I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here at the Hub Pavilion in Davos, and delighted now to be joined by Steve Howard. He's the CEO of the Climate Group. Thanks very much for coming through our doors. I know you've had a busy morning already, so tell me why you're here in Davos.
Really to give a message to the business community here that there's an opportunity in climate change. So we've got the financial crisis, we've had a sort of mixed outcome from Copenhagen, from the climate change meeting there, but in the background there's this clean, green industrial revolution going on at real scale, whether it's solar power, electric vehicles, energy efficiency, and there's business to be done, there's money to be made, and there's a planet to be saved. So that's my message here, and that's what I'm doing. I also chair the World Economics Forum, a council on climate change, so I'm involved with many of the meetings with the different industry sectors and government leaders here.
So I want to pick up on that and just ask you a little bit more. Copenhagen, from at least one perspective, was a complete disaster. There's no deal. On the other hand, some of those people that I spoke to in Copenhagen, Arnold Schwarzenegger included, said actually it doesn't matter that much. You know, we didn't need the global deal. We were never going to get a global deal, and all the hard work is being done on a subnational level by groups such as yourselves, by businesses, by states pulling together and having initiatives. What's your perspective on that?
The emissions terminator's great, so Arnold's done a good job, and the state and regional governments were there. We had 60 from around the world, from Premier Charest of Quebec to Mike Rann of South Australia. There were 50 or so mayors from across the world, and a massive show of strength from the business community. You do need national policy, and the idea with Copenhagen was it was going to sort of frame the level of ambition and international collaboration around that. But the glass is half full on Copenhagen, so there's two ways of looking at it. There was the fact that we had Japan, Brazil, Russia, India, China, Mexico, the EU, all making brave commitments on the run-up to Copenhagen. And that wouldn't have happened without that meeting. It actually galvanized national action. And then we had the US, India, China, South Africa, and Brazil in a side room at head of state level cut a deal. And if you think what we really needed from Copenhagen was to have those major emerging economies and the US on board. And it might not be some legally binding treaty, but it is sort of politically binding. It's been signed off at head of state level, and they're already looking at how they implement it. So it's a platform to be built on. It's not given us what the Europeans particularly wanted, which was the legal treaty, but it has 120 heads of state, the largest meeting of heads of state outside of New York on any issue ever. I mean, that's significant, so let's not write it off.
I want to play the devil's advocate again for just a minute and ask you about the dinosaurs of industry. Obviously, you are working with some of the leaders who are ready to take action on climate change. However, when you talk to companies, especially in places like the States, there are still many companies that are digging in their heels and they're not making a move. And a lot of the progressive companies say it's not going to happen until we get a price on carbon.
It's actually happening already, and now we need to make it happen faster, but in 2008 was the first time there were more jobs in the US in the wind industry than in the coal industry. So which industry are you looking to? And we can now see there are sunrise industries in renewable energy and energy efficiency that are coming to scale, some of the biggest industries in the world. So the next Googles, the next Microsofts will be green companies, they'll be clean technology companies. So that lobby force is potent, and it's actually aligned business interests with the interests of all of us and the planet. But there's been a vigorous lobby force, and it's not just in the US, it's in the EU, it's in Japan, it's in Australia, where industry that feels threatened, that feels it's going to have, lose competitive advantage, is really going through a revolving door all the time into government saying don't do this. So what we do at the Climate Group is I try and provide a counterforce. So we had 5 financial institutions stand up this morning, actually reporting on what they were doing on climate change, call for action saying, rest of the world join us. So it's sort of HSBC, Standard Charter, Munich Re, Swiss Re, Credit Agricole, F&C Asset Management joining them, $5.5 trillion under investment, saying we're going to put that money to work in partnership with our clients. We're going to put it to work. So we need that potent power force. We need the counterforce to the negative lobbying. It's still a problem.
Steve Howard, thanks very much for coming along to the Hub Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.